Hey, I'm Jerry, and this is the brand new 16-inch MacBook Pro. Yes, I know the internet is going insane for these things, and you know what? I kind of am too. So let's check this guy out. Let's see what's in here and get our first impressions. And I just gotta say that this thing feels like a tank. Like, it is heavy. I just picked this up from the Apple Store, and this 16.2-inch Liquid Retina XDR display laptop weighs 4.8 pounds, and it feels so much heavier inside this box. So of course there's the power brick inside here, but just first impression of holding the box is, man, this thing has got some weight to it. And speaking of the Liquid Retina XDR display, this is the 16-inch MacBook Pro, like I said, with the 10-core CPU, 30-core GPU, M1 Max with 32 gigabytes of memory and a 1 terabyte SSD. Now this is a nearly top-of-the-line laptop. Only thing missing is up to 8 terabytes of storage and that 64 gigabytes of RAM in this model. And you know what? I have a feeling, just based on using the M1 MacBooks for the last year, that going from 32 to 64 is not going to matter as much as a lot of people think it would. I think there's going to be a big difference going from 16 gigabytes to 32 gigabytes, so I'm really excited about that. So let's just go ahead and rip this guy open. Bam, MacBook Pro. These are what pros have been waiting for, but are they all that everybody has them cracked up to be? Is that all they are cracked up to be? Whatever, time will tell. I know I will be doing some benchmarks and others will be doing some benchmarks, so let me know below if there's something specific that you want to see for benchmark tests or just testing out different pieces of software. So let's open this guy up. All right, wow, there it is. The new design, completely flat on top with this 16-inch MacBook Pro. Let's lift that tab up, and there it is. And oh my God, this thing does feel like a brick. You know, a really nice feeling brick, but still feels like a brick. Let's see what else we got. All right, so designed by Apple in California. Of course, in here, we're gonna have regulatory information. And I heard a rumor that, yep, there they are. Black Pro stickers. You know you're a pro if you get the black stickers, so that's pretty cool. Let's see, we also get quick setup guide, Touch ID. We don't care about that. If you're watching this, you don't need that. Okay, so we do get, with this M1 Max 16-inch laptop, a 140 watt charger. This thing will fast charge your MacBook up to 50% in just 30 minutes using this 140 watt charging adapter. And this thing, it's pretty large. I believe it's a GAN charger, but it's not compact and small like the other GAN chargers we've seen. However, it is much larger. So instead of 20 or 40 or 65 watts, this is 140 watts. And with that, you need the new MagSafe connection for fast charging the 16-inch MacBook Pro with the 140 watt adapter. And of course, the return of MagSafe. I am so happy about this, as are many others. It's one of those things that just did make sense that Apple removed it. Sure, you add USB-C and you add the convenience of being able to charge from any port on the laptop, but MagSafe just felt good. It had the little status LED indicator that let you know it was still charging, which we get again, which is awesome. And it's roughly the same height as USB-C, just a little bit wider. So it's really kind of dumbfounding that they ever removed it. And we'll see if I can remove it from this packaging, because that's kind of a pain in the butt. I don't know how I'm ever gonna get this back in here if I need to. All right, so a decent length of this cable, and it looks really nice. It is braided, so hopefully that means that it'll stay looking cleaner and nicer for longer and hopefully be a little bit more resilient to bending. But it is silver, and this is a space gray MacBook. That's odd, right? I mean, they have colored cords for the 24-inch iMacs, so kind of odd that they didn't color match these cords with the new MacBooks. All right, let's take a look at this laptop though, because that's what we're all here for, right? Here we go. Ta-da! Oh my gosh. This thing. Oh yeah, look at that etching on the bottom. MacBook Pro, now etched on the bottom. That's worth $1,000 right there. This is the third tier of the 16-inch MacBook Pro, which again comes with the 10-core CPU, the 30-core GPU, and 32 gigabytes of RAM and 1 terabyte of storage. And the cost of this guy out the gate is $3,500. That's right. That's a lot of money. So you definitely deserve that etching on the bottom. But first impressions of just feeling this thing is that it reminds me so much more of the old PowerBooks. I had a 12-inch PowerBook. That was the first Apple laptop that I owned. And I gotta say, I mean, it's not much thicker than this is probably. I'll have to look up the specs, but it feels more boxy. It feels more pro. I mean, honestly, it doesn't feel like a thin and light laptop. Apple purposely made the decision to make this a more powerful machine. They could have made it thinner. They could have made it lighter, I'm sure, but that would have been at the sacrifice of performance. And early benchmarks of these things just show that these things are performance beasts. So let's take a look inside. I've been waiting for this for a while. Here we go. Bong. Wow. All right, so the first thing that I noticed when it started up is the new keyboard. No touch bar. Now, it's not exactly a glass of ice water in hell, but it is nice to return to physical buttons. Some people love the touch bar, some people hate it. I was mostly ambivalent about it, but I absolutely do prefer the physical buttons. And now we get full height physical buttons, including a new Touch ID sensor down here. And this is all sitting in a anodized or double anodized black keyboard well. And I think that it looks really good. Again, reminiscent of older MacBooks. On the sides, we have those big speaker grills like we had on the previous 16-inch MacBook Pro. And of course, that brand new sound system built in, which I'm excited to test.
macOS contains a built-in screen reader called Voice.
And VoiceOver is going to keep distracting me, so let's get through this real quick. And we do have that large 16-inch MacBook trackpad, which is basically the same size as the external separate Magic Trackpad 2 that you can buy as well. And on the front, we have that brand new 16.2-inch Liquid Retina XDR display that's 120 hertz. It has ProMotion built in and the notch. You could say that you're gaining screen space with a notch. You could say you're losing screen space with a notch. I'm going to say I'm going to give it some time before I decide how I actually feel about that notch. It does come down. It is noticeable right now, but how noticeable will it be over time when you're actually just using the laptop? So TBD on that. The screen resolution also this year is true native 2X with a resolution of 3024 by 1964 and a resolution of 254 pixels per inch, which is higher than the iMac 5K and the 24-inch iMac, and even the Pro Display XDR. All right, and I'll finish setting that up later. On the outside, on the left side, we have that MagSafe port, we have two Thunderbolt 4 ports, and we have a headphone jack. On the right side, we get that SD card slot, which is UHS 2, so I'll test out those speeds, Thunderbolt 4, and HDMI port. On the bottom, again, we have that etched in MacBook Pro insignia, which is nice. I think it's a nice touch. We have vents on the left side, vents on the right side, and I think there's vents in the back. Yep, there you go. Can you see that? Hopefully you can see that. Also, there's some new feet on the bottom, which are different from the little dimples on previous MacBook Pros. So this should raise the MacBook up just a little bit more, ever so slightly from the desk, which probably helps with heat dissipation on the bottom of the MacBook. The last thing I want to do in this video is check out MagSafe. I have the 140 watt power brick connected to power, and so we'll just bring in MagSafe close to the MacBook, and look at that. We are charging, it's connected, it's secure, but it can be removed if something happens, you trip over it or whatever. So actually it's pretty strong. It might pull the computer depending on how fast you actually disconnect the cable. So watch out for that, but regardless, I think it's still cool. I think it's nice to have, and we'll see how it works over time. And from the top side, you should be able to see that connect and disconnect. Yay, I'm pretty happy about that. So I'm gonna get this thing set up. I'm gonna start doing some benchmarks, and I'll come back with an early first impressions of this guy. So definitely hit subscribe, hit the thumbs up button if you liked it, and let me know what you want to see in the comments below, and I'll see you next time.